Okay. So welcome to our last session of 2020. And it's a pretty exciting time because I think everybody feels quite similar in the way that we just want this year to be quite well done with. And it's great that we can be able to practice toward this end of year and toward this very specific time in your journey in life is to really start to seal the end of the year, seal the energy and the expectations and everything that you've started at this beginning of the year to be able to come and bring it to a closure. And for you, that might mean projects and tasks. And for you, that might even be relationships and people, or even things and people that we have to say farewell to. And so our practice and our intention today is going to be toward bringing about this sense of closure. So our movements today will follow up with gestures that can be quite flowing or cyclical in shape, so that we can really start to embody this sense of having had a beginning and now moving toward the end, or the sealing of the circle, the closure at this time. So we begin with compassion and love. And as we start our practice, please take a tall seat, and I'm going to read you a quote from the Dalai Lama. The greatest degree of inner tranquility comes from the development of love and compassion. The more we care for the happiness of others, the greater is our own sense of well-being. Cultivating a close, warm-hearted feeling for others automatically puts the mind at ease. It is the ultimate source of success in life. And so we don't need to feel that we have not been successful with accomplishments this year. It's been challenging and unique for each and every one of you. But we can begin with a sense of love and compassion so that we can end also with a sense of love and compassion. And so with that, begin your practice by embodying the word and breathing it in of love. Embodying the word and breathing in compassion. And this can absolutely mean compassion to yourselves as well for everything and all that has occurred to you in this experience of a very unique time. And as you fold your hands and palms together, let's bring our class intention this evening toward a closure. A healthy closure in that we have love and compassion here. A healthy closure so that what we close here, what we say goodbye to, we can bring in for the new year by starting with love and compassion as well. Take a deep heaping breath in through the nose and a nice audible exhale out your mouth. With this intention, keep it deep in your heart and slide your way down into child's pose. So take the knees as wide as your mat with edges. Let your toes touch. And with your arms reaching forward, fingertips spread nice and wide, just allow your pelvis and your hips to sway like a boat from side to side. And with this boat-like sway and rocking action, let it just soothe your attention toward calming your mind and toward quieting your thoughts. Bring about where you breathed in love and start to pull your breath right into that area of your body. And then exhale through and from love, compassion to yourself for this practice. And compassion to yourself for all the enduring moments that you had during this year and time. Please walk your hands over to the right-hand side of your mat. Interlace your fingers. It doesn't matter which way the knuckles bend, but use the opposing hand, the one with the fingers straight, to pull and reach further away on that diagonal. And then the fingertips and the knuckles that are bent pull back toward you. So it creates this gentle and balanced energy of reaching out and pulling in, of extending and beginning something new as the start, and then pulling back and reflecting on everything that has already occurred. When we think of beginning and end, it really is not just a start and a close, but a continuous form of life, of energy, all entwined in together as one. Please move your hands across your mat to the opposing side, and then do the opposite weave of your hands interwoven. The fingers that are extended to straight reach long and wide on that diagonal beyond the fingertips itself, and really reach with your breath. And with the knuckles that are bent, folding into the webbing of the hands, start to pull back and bring some of that energy back in toward the core of the body. Let's do that visually with your breath, energetically with your body. Inhale, reach and extend. Exhale, pull back, draw in. Inhale, find a new beginning of energy and light. Exhale, pull back and recreate that closure, the sealing of the energy and time. Reach hands forward back to center, a nice even reach to the front of your mat, fingertips spread wide, and then come forward onto all fours. Tuck the toes underneath, really press back through your heels and your arches, encourage the stretch to the base of your feet, and then untuck your toes, pointing the toes back and pushing down with the tops of the feet. Let's do that 2 more times. Tuck the toes, stretch the arches. There's a little bit of a sway and a drawing back with your hands and your fingertips as well. And then untuck, point the toes back, and really feed the energy of the tops of your feet into the ground. Then stay with the one that you prefer, toes tucked or untucked, fingers spread wide, and the index knuckles parallel to one another. Work to center the crease of your wrist toward the crease of the elbow and all the way up to the shoulder girdle. And now that you're set up, take a deep breath in and unravel the spine into extension, drawing the heart forward, letting the shoulders fall back, and then exhale, tuck your tail. Bring some energy to your core as you pull the navel in and start to round, flex your spine, chin to chest. You can look toward your navel as reference and drishti, just to enhance and encourage the stretch of the neckline as well. Let's keep going, extending, lengthening through your entire back, really feeling it and maybe even envisioning the spinal placement. And then exhale, round, flexing the spine in. One more extension and flexion. Use the earth underneath you to really press into feet and hands, giving yourself that extra round in your back. Pause with a neutral spine. We're going to start to take our gestures around, like side to side. So you can envision the whole chest cavity and the ribs like a barrel, and you're going to inflate the back body, reaching it up toward the sky, but start to move and lean over to one side, right or left. Sway downward toward the earth, soft elbows, easy joints, and then sweep your way all the way back up to sky as though to reach your shoulder blades to the ceiling. Soften heart down to the earth, sweep up back to sky, and we'll do one more in the direction that you've chosen here before we complete the circle to the opposite way. Go ahead and circle sweep round to the other way now. Lifting ribs, chest, shoulder blades high, and then lowering your heart toward the floor. Move the breath into your posture, into the gesture. So much so your breath is audible to you, yourself, the inhale and the exhale. Take a moment to center, close your eyes, and feel the earth from the ground up, fingertips, toes, knees, whatever's in contact to the floor. And then see if you can keep your eyes closed as you make your way into downward facing dog. So feeling your way into the pose, really rooting down with toes and hands, raising the hips high toward the sky, and then choosing to step back a little further to give yourself space. Eyes might stay closed for this next moment. And then exhale out all the breath from the body, gaze back at your feet, and look at your placement.
So you have just enough space between your feet, hip distance or slightly wider, standing the arches toward the knees end and underneath. Reach the hips, the sits bones, and pelvis up nice and high toward the sky, encouraging the slope of your spine all the way down to the earth with your heart reaching. Take a deep breath into this form. Feel it for all and everything that it is here and now. Stay in this shape known as downward facing dog and start to breathe up the hands all the way toward the back hips high, and then exhale down the backs of your legs toward the heels. Once again, inhale, sweeping the breath up through the hands, rooted fingers all the way to the spine, the pelvis and hips, exhaling down the backs of your legs toward the feet's end. Slowly walking your way forward and coming to the front of your mat, feet to hands. Inhale, rise, halfway lift. And exhale, fold and take a really generous bend into your knees. Let your rib cage rest on top of the thighs and reach your hands in behind you and see if not to interlace your fingers on your back. Now, if the hands don't meet together, you can take a strap or you can simply extend the hands, palms apart, fingertips toward the sky. Either way, take a deep breath in and soften your chin in so your neck is long and the head and the weight of it is reaching toward the ground. Slowly begin to extend the legs in your folded shape. Your posture of your hands either with a strap, interlaced, or palms apart. Really reach the chest long and the heart forward and down to the floor. Shoulders back, long spine, deep breaths. One more breath, really feeling and paying attention to the essence of breath and energy that is floating through your body. How we can use the attention of your mind and its power to wash away the old and give space for all and everything new to come. Release your hands. Inhale, rise, halfway lift. Exhale, bow of your legs and fold. Think of this as a new beginning. Bend your knees, close your eyes, and ragdoll to stand. And as you rise on up towards standing, let yourself open to this new beginning of time and even to this new beginning and another layer shed of the practice. Arms by your side in mountain form, fingers wide, palms forward. Take a deep breath in, charge your legs and reach your arms up toward the sky. Stay standing for this one. Exhale, hands and palms together, center chest. And just take a humble bow in toward yourselves. And as we began your practice, you began with a sense of love and compassion. And as that stays within you, may you use the intent of the class to move out the old, bring space for something new, and really start to create a closure for yourself toward this end of year. Let's begin to flow. Bend your knees a little. Inhale the arms up toward the sky. Reach up, look up. Exhale, bow forward, folding over your legs. Inhale, rise, halfway lift. Exhale, fold to take the palms flat to your mat. Step back, high plank. Knees lifted or grounded, you choose. Shoulders, elbows standing over wrists. Fingers wide, lots of healthy grip into the mat for strength. Bend your elbows to slowly lower your way down. Pause here, hips flat, untuck toes, loop the shoulders back, take a gentle extension of your spine, baby cobra. Exhale, lower your heart down, tuck your toes. Now you can use your knees pressing to the earth, but keep the shoulders back in both variations, or the knees lifted, press away from the ground. Meet yourself in plank pose. Exhale, everybody, downward dog. 3 deep breaths here, and maybe you enjoy that visualization of breathing up the extremities of the hands, the arms, exhaling down from the basin of your pelvis toward your feet. 2nd breath here in. Full release, letting go, washing through tension, through things you don't need anymore. And so that you're ready for this new beginning, a new year to come. 3rd breath, last one. Please inhale your right leg up toward the sky and twirl around with your arch, your toes wide. Circle and spin the opposing direction and just notice what is there. Without judging the body for what it is, simply feel and be that witness. Step your right foot forward, lower the left knee down. Use extra cushioning or padding underneath the knee if it feels slightly sensitive to the floor. If you don't have a block, fold your mat in half. Take another layer underneath. Keep fingertips to the floor for a moment. Stretch your heart forward and notice if there's a difference in sensation for the hip. Keep that and then draw your right top hip back and start to square your pelvis more forwardly in direction. And then lean as much to the front as you need to into your forward right heel. Take a deep breath in. Stay for your exhale. Tuck your back left toes underneath, push into them, and gently lift the left knee off the floor. Ensure that the hips didn't sway or more weight was loaded onto the left. Keep them equal. Take your left arm off the floor and reach it up toward the sky. Open it up. And exhale the left hand back down to the earth. So you can stay on fingertips. If you need to come a little higher, then maybe you'll be on blocks. We're going to keep lifted with the right arm on this side. Big inhale. And then take a sweep of your right arm across the body, reaching over to the left. Yeah, that's it. Inhale, open your heart up to face the right side of your mat. Arm sweeps up toward the ceiling. Exhale, swing under, across and over the body to your left-hand side. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swing underneath. If any extremities are getting tired, you can lower the left knee down or come onto a palm or a fist on the left side. Inhale, right arm up toward the sky. Stay in your twist. Draw the right hip back. Keep the knee standing over the center of your foot. And then rediscover where your breath can sit in your body in a very balanced and centered tone. Inhale, feeding the exhale. Exhale, feeding the inhale, as though to breathe all in a full cycle as one. Lower right hand down to the floor, gain your balance. Good work. Palms flat, fingers wide. Step back, downward facing dog. If any blocks underneath your body so you have room to vinyasa, let's take a single cycle here. Inhale, forward, high plank. Keep your knees afloat or use them to the earth for grounding. Bend your elbows, slowly lower. On this one, if you wish, you can come up higher off the pelvis and the hips. Tops of the feet are strong, upward facing dog. Exhale, roll over your toes and your arches, downward facing, gazing at the space between your feet, keeping the arches lifted with toes wide. Lots of energy from the ground and up. Let's take that breath in, up the arms, the fingers. And then exhaling down through the backs of your legs. Inhale, left leg up toward the sky and spin around through the arch. Toes pointing. Round and round. Opposite direction, circle the other way. Full circle here. Gently step the left leg forward and lower the right knee down. Use any tools that you need to help modify and support your knee. And start with the right arm reaching up toward the sky. So same side as back leg. And slowly lower that arm down. When the fingertips are the floor, really use them here. You can press into them and then squeeze through the hips, drawing the left one back. Now let's come into our sweeps with the arm. Inhale, left arm up toward the sky. Good. Can you ensure that the right shoulder is still reaching back and away from your earlobe? That's it. Sweep across the body with the left arm over to the right-hand side. And then inhale, untwist, unwind, open it back up. Left arm high to sky. Let's sweep underneath and across the body again. Inhale, opening it up. And we've got one more here before we hold the twist. Inhale, open the heart up. That's it. After all, this place of love and compassion stems from the center of your body, where your mind can rest and sit into the depth of your heart. So really breathe from this specific place. Nice long inward breath and one more cycle. Exhale slowly, left arm down to the earth, fingers wide. Carefully step that left leg back down dog. Remove any tools or blocks from underneath the body and take a single cycle vinyasa here. From downward facing dog, you can either step or hop to the top of your mat. Once feet are landed, inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Come to stand, arms reach wide and all the way up. Prayer hands and palms together, center chest. Lean weight into your right leg, pick up your left, and post somewhere along the inseam of your right for tree pose, Vrikshasana. Stay away from the joint of the knee, so either go below and really press into the calf, the shin, or you can use the support of your hand, your wrists, and reach the foot up high against the thigh. There's still a sweet little bend into the right knee, the standing leg, just to be mindful that we're not hyperextending at the joints. Bring your hands and palms to start together. See if not to close your eyes and feel for the beginning of this posture from an internal perspective. And then start to extend your energy. And from this place of new beginning, let your arms free, open your eyes, let your heart free as you allow it to lift slightly in an upward direction. Hands and palms slowly meet back together as one. Bring your hands to your hips and turn your left knee to point to the front. Start kicking back with your left toes, driving through the ball end of the foot, right knee and hip still standing over the right side leg. Open your arms up. You can take them wide into airplane pose. You can reach behind you if you really want to let the heart reach to the front, or you can even reach the arms ahead of you. Stay for 3, for 2, and for the last one, let your hands meet back to your pelvis. Bend your right knee and land the left toes about 3 feet apart from that forward heel. You'll angle your back left foot at 45 degrees, and while you have your hands on your hips, let's physically pull the top of the right hip back, squaring out your hips. Make sure there's lots of space in the low spine, so drawing the tailbone down to the earth, just a slight tuck. Reach the chest up toward the sky, elbows back. Take a deep breath in and really fill up. As you exhale, follow the outward breath to let you start to fold belly over thigh, crown head closer toward the floor. A great opportunity for fingertips to the earth, a little higher away from the ground. If you do have some handy blocks, one under each palm, and the palms are underneath your shoulders. See what happens if you soften the chin in, if that feels better for your neckline, or if you're practicing at strengthening your neck muscles, then gaze just ahead of your toes. Nice long inward breaths in this position. Letting go of the heaviness, the tension in the mind as well as in the body, with the intent of having and creating the space for anything new to arise. Look gently forward as reference. You start to walk the left leg back enough so that the knee can come down once again. Please use the tools to support your knee or fold the mat as prior. Use your hands, walk the hands back toward your hips, and take a half split position here. So the right toes are lifting back up toward your chest or pointing back toward your chest. The right knee is softly bent. And if you take your right thumb and just place it in the crease of your right hip, you can assist your hips to square by drawing the hip down and then pulling it back just slightly. You can do that by really tucking your thumb into the hip bone or the pelvic bone there. Take a deep breath in and try lengthening the spine out of the position and then refolding in again and letting yourself collapse downwards so long as the upper spine and shoulders aren't lifting. If that's happening, just reach more forward ahead of the toes Keeping the chest tall and the spine long. Slowly release your form and position. Step into the right leg so your hands and palms are flat and ahead of you. And then you'll step the right leg back for downward dog. Cycle for vinyasa is an option. If you need a little rest at this time, you can always lower to child's pose. Those of you vinyasing, inhale forward plank. Exhale lower. Take baby cobra or upward dog. Exhale back downward facing. And pause here and be in the moment with your body and your breath. We can think of vinyasa as well as that cyclic cycle of moving the energy, and however you interpret or perceive the beginning or end of that sequence and circle, it is that beauty in the moving of the energy along with your breath. And the next time we cycle, perhaps we can intend to move out the old, bring in the new. Please come to standing at the top of your mat. Give yourself here the moment to just notice before feeling that we need to speed into the other side or do anything at all. Just let yourself stand in presence. And what does the meaning of standing in presence of your body mean to you? Let's take a cleansing breath with intention. Bend your knees. Inhale, reach up. Really letting go of what you know you don't need. Exhaling, bring the hands at center, and just being ready for the new. Stand your weight into your left leg, toes wide, and pose for tree pose, Vrikshasana. Take low or height with your foot, whatever's the most comfortable for you. Take a moment and ground your way, toes wide, belly tones in, trunk is stable, close your eyes. And then you choose, start to move your hands up toward the sky, reaching upward, letting your heart lift, and really exuding as though this position, instead of retreat, were to be called love itself. And so now you are love. You are being love and everything in it. Bring hands and palms to meet back together. When your hands meet your hips, gently turn the right knee to point to the front and start kicking back, a little bit of drive into the ball of your foot as though you could push your foot against a wall. So lots of strength in that back leg. Keep the drive, back leg long, stabilize the left toes wide, soft knee. Take your position or your choice in the expression, arms wide behind you or up front. And we'll hold for 3, for 2, and on 1. Right toes land just a few feet away from the left heel, hands on hips to return. With the hands on hips, you can use them to square your pelvis and to allow you to really focus on the foundation of your feet before we come into the fold. Once your hips are square, let's lift through your heart. Deep inhale. As you exhale, following your outward breath, letting the breath seep out from belly to lungs as you gently collapse or become closer over your left side leg. Please use blocks or come onto fingertips if you need a little extra height with the earth coming close toward you. Humble yourselves by gazing close toward your heart line and navel, and by feeling the energy in the crown of the head, the tissue of the brain, just soften as you breathe. So much has occurred in this year. So much you've experienced as well as endured. So much you've accomplished. And it is not to judge this year, but to simply reflect on all that is and soon to be what was. Let go of the old and bring space for the new. Let's lift your chest off that leg just a little. Reach the hands closer to the front so you have room to wiggle your right leg and toes back. Knee comes down to the earth. Your hands will assist you at walking back underneath your shoulders and your hips as you start to peel the left toes off the floor. That's it, nice transition. You can take your left thumb now to the top crease of your left hip, feeling into the hip bone, guiding it back as well as slightly down. And how you know a correct way of square is that you're not feeling the load of your hips really sway to one side, especially the right that we're on here, that you in fact do feel centered. And it becomes more of a healthy and efficient stretch underneath the hamstring versus forced. Let's take a few breaths into where you're feeling it in your body. And there's always possibility of feeling things that aren't generally physical and muscular form, but maybe we feel something that surfaces in thought. So as we stay for 3 more breaths, let the time be an opportunity for whatever is to surface for you. Exhaling completely through your 3rd breath. Gently traveling forward with your hands so your left foot can stamp into the earth. Hands palms in front like a tripod, fingers wide. Back toes tucked, knee lifts, and that might give you a bit more space to step back with your left side leg. So the intention here in this movement or these sequences of pose and vinyasa, let's really sweep out the old, blow through the residual, and start to give space for the new. Let's vinyasa forward, inhale, high plank. Exhale, bend the elbows lower, rise through to your back bend of choice. Exhale, return, downward facing. Deep inhale, full cleansing exhale. Deep inhale, full cleansing exhale. Raise your right leg off the mat toward the sky, extend up. Gently place the foot forward in between the hands. Lower your left heel down to the floor. Baby toe side edge meets close to the earth. Windmill rise through warrior 2. Deep plunge into the right side leg, the knees standing over the middle of your foot. And your left foot is in contact with the floor so much so the baby toe is really reaching down. Take a deep inhale here. We're going to switch and change. Straighten out the right leg, soft knee. Pivot on the heel by lifting the toes. That's it. Both feet are pointing the same direction now. And you're going to lift up your left toes, point them toward the back of your mat, and bend into the left knee. Yeah, super. Let's do that once more, both sides. So inhale, straighten through the left leg. Balance on the heel, lift up the toes. Lift up right toes. Point the toe and the knee in line with one another as you bend. Wonderful. Last time toward the left. Lift toes, pivot on heel. Pivot on left, point the toes to the rear of the mat. Let's stay center on the next one. Straighten the left leg. Lift the toes, hands on your hips. From here, interlace your fingers toward the low back and use the low spine, press the knuckles against it. In order to give the chest more space, collarbones wide, shoulders behind you. Take a deep breath in and really lift through your heart. Not only a gesture in your body, but start to lift with that essence, that feeling, and the beauty in love and compassion that you have to others, that you know to be, and that you can give to everybody around you. Forward fold. Your hands can stay interwoven and you can start to reach your knuckles toward the ceiling's end. If that's too much in your wrists or your shoulders themselves, bring your palms to the floor underneath them and support them with the ground. Choose your expression, stay for a few breaths. And breathing in your body, full inhale here, full exhale. Inhale, if not already, hands and palms to the floor. Soften your knees just a little. Use your core strength and your leg strength to bring the hands to the hips and then back to standing.
Yeah, great job. We're going to do a little ninja squat here. So return where the right toes are lifted and you're pivoting on the heel. So now the right toe and the knee are pointing the same direction. Just ensure that they're going the same way. And you'll start to reach your hands down toward the inseam of the right foot toward the floor. Now again, if the ground is really far distance away, you're always welcome to use your blocks on the highest, middle, or lowest height and prop up the body. So we'll do that pivot and shift just like we did from standing, but we'll stay low toward the floor. So bring your blocks with you or don't. We'll travel across, lift up right toes now, you're pivoting on the heel, lift up left toes, and you're bending the knee toward the side. That's it. We will go side to side a couple more times, and I'll give you another option to explore for a little bit more depth. If you have tender knees, please keep the hips up nice and high and make sure the knee is center over the foot at all times and your hands are down. If you're okay, you're pliable in the knees, then when you go over to the other side here, let's switch to your right. Knee and toe always pointing the same way. You can start to lower your hips down toward the floor. Yeah, that's it. And see how the degree of bend in the knee is quite great, so make sure there's no pain here at all. Left toes flex up toward the sky. You're balancing on the heel here, and the left knee is still softly bent, so you can catch ourselves if we're hyperextending in the joint. Option again is here. Your second option, hips are up, using the hands and the feet instead. So getting right into the inner thighs and the muscles of the groin. Ready to switch to the other side. Inhale, come through center. Use your hands, animal walk across over. Keep lifted if your knees feel tender, and it could be different either side. Or start to lower the hips and the pelvis down, pointing the toes toward the sky. Sometimes what I like to do here is with the arm on the inside of the leg, use it as leverage to draw the knee further back. Yeah, good job, that's it. Nice deep breath into this area. Slowly come through center, back the way up on our hands and palms. We'll stay low to the floor to help us, and we'll walk our way around so that you're facing back to the front of your mat, and your right leg will be forward. Hands and palms down to the earth. Gentle sweep and step back, downward facing. Option to take that cycle through vinyasa with the intent of moving out that old energy. Option to take the ground low to the earth with the same intention, keeping stable, giving space. Your choice here. We'll meet back in downward dog in a moment. Please return to standing, top of your mat, mountain pose. Now, the last time we were here, we were asymmetrical before we came into tree. So now that we've balanced both the series on both sides of our bodies, take this opportunity to observe this now. It's always important to remember in your home practice that anything that you hear that is happening and going on around you, you can start to permit as a whole experience and part of your practice. So just let that be. Everything you hear, everything you smell or see is to just witness all that is, and to even be grateful for these senses that you have to be able to hear, smell, see, and taste everything. We'll come into one more standing balancing posture and then start to move our energy toward a grounding state as we come closer toward the earth. Please stand in your left leg this time and lift up your right knee. You'll cross your right ankle on top of the left thigh for standing pigeon balance. Soften the left knee a little and start to move your hips, your sits bones back. And there should never be any pain in the body, but for this particular position, just really make sure there's nothing around the knees or the low back. If this is the case, you are more than welcome to take a partial eagle pose. So the right leg would cross over the left, keep the toe toward the floor, and you can start bending the knees and the hands to hips. So working the strengthening component around the knee joints as they cross. Those of you in pigeon pose, option to keep the hands in prayer. Option to gently cradle the leg with the support of your hand and palm to foot, same side, same knee, palm to palm here on the right. If you want to add just a little bit more challenge, you can begin to come into a twist. So using the hand and palm and foot to leverage the chest of the body as you start to turn your heart to face the left. Pressing your feet in toward the floor in all variations and options. Keeping the fuel of the breath and the energy toward the core as you gently tone your belly back. And come out of your chosen form by unwinding, untwisting, and then slowly coming up. Carefully place that foot to the floor, let your arms return alongside you, and breathe. What does it mean to be compassionate toward yourself? It's easy to understand in words and definition, especially if it's told to you. But how can you embody what this truly means? As we move toward the end of a year, a very difficult one for most, it's important to move toward the end with this sense of being compassionate, especially toward yourself. Let's begin anew, the other side with a breath. Inhale, arms to sky. Exhale, palms together. Weight will drop into your right foot. If you happen to have gone to the other side first, then just make sure you're doing the other leg. Crossing over for pigeon here is an option, or perhaps taking a standing eagle form and working the squeeze of the knees and the legs together. Good. I really like how you're keeping your spine long, so really offering the heart out and forward. If you're an eagle, then gently upward in direction, but more open and outward in shape. If you came into any of those different extensions from pigeon, such as the cradling the foot and the knee or the twist, you can start to move into that slowly now. As you inhale your way back to center, maintain ground on that standing foot, push it into the floor. Uncross, unwind, undo, unfold, and return to neutral form, mountain pose. Breathe all the way down the crown of your head to the tips of your heels and your toes. A nice complete and washing exhale. Do that with movement. Stay standing. Inhale, arms to sky, reach it up, look up. Wash it through with your breath, your energy, and the power of your mind. Exhale, hands together. Excellent work. Let's start to move our postures close to the floor. This one can give some strength into the knees, but if you know you're super tender, then please just find your way to slowly meet us in seated, facing forward, top of your mat. Inhale, arms to the front, bend your knees, take chair pose. We'll start to lower your back, hips, and seat, testing the waters of depth and strength, spreading the toes wide until you come all the way down to sit. Good. Extend your legs to straight, arms, palms in behind you, and then give the legs a shake. And drum out the knees, soft bend. Yeah, perfect, really good. Bend the knees, draw the soles of your feet together. Keep the heels further away from the hips. This one's going to be for the low back. So we want to envision our spine to be like the shell of a tortoise, but you don't want to cause or push any pressure into the low discs. So let's remain on the sits bones slightly more forward with your weight. Got it. And then bring the hands alongside the legs and the feet and take a gentle passive bow as though to move the crown of the head or your third eye toward the heels. And so the physical components of your body here don't necessarily have to touch, but what you can start to envision in your mind as reference and visualization is this looping of energy. Breathe in and up through your toes and your legs, all the way up your back, hips, through to your spine, and then exhaling out from the crown of the head and back toward the earth or back toward the feet's end. Inhale up the feet and the legs, your hips and your low back. Keep breathing up toward the spine and then exhaling all the way out and through the crown of your head. And start to create this visualization of an energetic loop of breath, beginning at the feet, closing and sealing at the crown head. Beginning at the feet again, inhale. Exhaling and sealing and closing from out the crown head. Slowly release by coming up. Use your leg strength, core strength. Take the palms just to the outsides of the knees to assist them at closing inwardly. Hands and palms just in behind the hips, but fingertips forward. Keep the fingertips spread wide as though to really imprint and claw your mat. And we'll take a reverse tabletop here. Press the weight into your feet, lift your hips. You can lift your hips up off the floor as little or as much as you need. No pain in the shoulders nor the wrists. And as your hips come up, your heart lifts. It's important for the neckline here to support it by either gazing forward to the knees. If the neck can relax into the traps and shoulders, then you can sink down and gaze upward. But just be mindful, and I won't do it for demo, but please don't throw the head and your gaze back. So really softening and supporting. Exhale, slowly lower your way down to seated. As you extend the legs, give the hands and the wrists just a little bit of a shake. Can be quite a bit of weight onto them. Once they return to ease, then ready for the next position, which will be a twist. Right knee folds in close toward you. Heel about a fist distance from the hip itself, or even crossed onto the left-hand side. Left arm wraps around the right side leg. Bring the knee in closer toward you as though it were to point straight to the ceiling. And then bring the right palm to the back of the right hip. You can even use the arm to leverage the spine. As your arm pushes into the back can stand taller from earth to sky. Then take a deep breath in and follow your exhale to let you revolve in this upward twist, upper spinal twist. Remaining for one more breath. Inhale, slowly untwist, unwind. Let's uncross the right leg if you did have it over. Lower the right knee down to the floor. The right palm's going to come back again in behind us, but not as close to the hip as before, a little further away. Fingers spread wide. Point the left toe down to the floor. You're on the top of your right foot and your shin. You're going to lift your hips and your pelvis up. Reach the left arm up toward the sky. And really open your energy up as you let your heart flare upward, your fingers wide, deep breath in. Full exhale. And inhale, slowly lower your way back down to your seat. Stay just as this with the legs. Bring the fingertips to the outside left, counter twist. There we go. And let's extend that right leg so we can switch to the other side. One more seated, and then we'll take the postures lying down. Bend the left knee, heel close to hip. So fist distance here in measure, or at least a little closer. If the knee is tender, keep it further away, no worries. Option to cross the foot to the opposing side. Right arm gives the left leg a really big hug, pulling the chest inward, bringing the spine nice and tall. Left palm in behind the back body, maybe leveraging with your forearm and your wrist as well. Let's all take a nice deep breath in and reach upward toward the ceiling, crown head lifted. Good, nice posture. Exhale, slowly turn, twist, and maybe gaze back. Keep inhaling the spine upward and exhaling to open the heart and chest. Envision your breath spiraling up the spine. Exhaling and letting go of tension in the spine. And anything you feel that might be energetically stored there as well. Use your next inward breath to untwist. Uncross the left leg if at all. Lower the knee down. Bring the palm just a foot away from the back of the hip. So you're coming onto the left shin, pointed left toe on top of foot. Inhale your energy by reaching the right arm up. That's it. Full breath here. Inhale. Exhale completely, belly and lungs. Ridding anything that could be residual in the body or stuck. Nice and cleansed. Exhale, lower your hips and your pelvis. And very slowly take a gentle turn, counter twist to your right. Inhale, unwind, extend the legs forward, bend the knees. Keep your blocks close by just in case. And you can do this nice and slowly. Reach your arms forward, tuck your tail, really engage your core muscles and let yourself lower down slowly. If that's not feeling good in your back or your neckline, bring the knees in close and slowly roll down with some momentum. Okay? So either way, meeting to the floor, lying down, take your time. And once you do arrive lying down, bring your knees and thighs into chest, take them a little wide and rock side to side. Bring the palms to the tops of your knees, right on right, left on left, and start drawing some circles on your ceiling there with your knees and your hands. You can use your hands to gently spin the knees in one direction. We got that nice full circle and range, and then go the opposite direction, full circle and range. Feet gently float to the floor. Reach your hands down to touch your heels. A good distance is when your fingertips are lightly grazing the heels, and the feet right and left are gently separated apart, maybe a couple fist distance. So we'll come into 3 sets of reverse tabletop or tabletop from the earth. I'll give you some variations. If you do want to come into wheel on the third one, I'll guide you there. So let's all take our first one to prep. Press the feet into the floor, toes wide. Lift the hips, the tailbone, raising the pelvis off the floor. Just really open up your ears for the support and the guideline, but don't move around to look for demonstration at all here. The neck is neutral. Pausing and breathing, letting the blood flow to come back toward the heart as a way of nourishment.
And then slowly exhaling, and from the top of the spine, feeling your back meet toward the floor once again. Lastly, hips and tailbone, and then just pause. You can stay here, knees to sky. You can bring the soles of the feet together, the knees wide. If that doesn't feel good for your low back, then do knees knocking together and feet wide as to the width of your mat. Take a few breaths in your chosen form of recovery and of grounding. Coming into the second of 3, and if you want to skip them at any time, you can stay in your restorative position. That was feet together or knees together, that one. Second one, reset. So fingertips graze the heels. Tuck the tail, press into the feet, reach your hips and pelvis up. You can stay here just as you were before, or maybe walk the shoulders underneath your body and start to move the hands together, interlace them. Baby fingers release to extension and press down toward the floor. Eye gaze stays stable and still, no movement of the head and the neck. Energy arises through the legs, the arms, and your breath. And from the lift in the beginning of this pose, come to the closure, the ceiling as you lower. Unwind the arms, the shoulders, lower from the top of the spine all the way down to the base of the spine, the tail, and come into your restorative position of choice. Knees together, feet wide, or feet together, knees wide, or just as you were. Third one, last one, you can choose to come into it or stay in your rest. A possibility of coming into wheel pose as well. If you're coming into wheel, you'll move the hands to the tops of the shoulders with the fingertips facing back to your shoulders themselves, so the wrists are away. From there, pressing into the hands, you're just going to come on to the top of the head. Once you're on the top of the head with weight, walk the hands closer toward your shoulders rather. Then using the legs and the arms, pressing into the floor, and maybe coming up off the crown of the head. Elbows squeezing in closely, whichever form that you're in, your legs are strong, the attention of your breath is there. When you're ready to lower down, especially from wheel, tuck your chin in, gently lower the head, slowly lower the pelvis and the hips toward the floor, hands, palms, arms. Take your form of restorative position, feet together, knees wide, knees together, feet wide. And whichever one you've chosen, let's all take left hand to belly, right hand to heart and chest, and take a full breath into your belly. Keep breathing all the way up into your heart and your lungs. And then softly let your breath go from the lungs and then from your belly. Twice more just as so. Inhale, belly. Keep inhaling up toward your lungs. Exhale from the lungs and exhale from your belly. One more. Inhale, belly. Inhale, lungs. Exhale, lungs. Exhale, belly. Let yourself notice the state and energy of your body. Let yourself bring attention to moving toward the closure of this practice as a whole. If you would like, you can set up the spine before Shavasana. Take a little happy baby. Feet toward the sky, knees bent, hands clasp the outsides of the legs somewhere, and they don't always have to grab the feet. You want to make sure that the head, the neckline, the shoulders are touching the floor rather than trying to grab for the feet and lifting up in this position. Once the upper body and the spine are relaxed, start to lower the tailbone closer toward the earth. And keep the chest wide, shoulders broad and flushed underneath the back body. Deep breath in. Please begin to exhale and start sliding and making your way into final pose, Shavasana.
And take all the time that you need to really settle in. If you need to dim down lights or grab a blanket or turn on music, just to really ensure that you're the most comfortable. And the most comfortable doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be absolutely quiet, but that once again you allow whatever it is in your scope of sensory to be a part of the journey in this practice and toward this journey in rest and rejuvenation. May you focus the attention now on your breath in your body and you. And as we move toward this final pose of this practice and of this very year, may you completely rest in your breath. Enjoy your Shavasana. The greatest degree of inner tranquility comes from the development of love and compassion. The more you care for the happiness of others, the greater is your own sense of well-being. Cultivating a close, warm-hearted feeling for others automatically puts your mind at ease. It is the ultimate source of success in your life. Embody as well as acknowledge the work that you have done in this practice, in this year. And as you reflect upon what has already occurred, may you feel all the warmth and the space that you have created now for anything to begin, as with the new year to come. And as you emerge into this new light, this new layer in being and form, may you emerge with love and compassion. Please find some small movements into your hands and your toes to slowly awaken. You can make circles with your hands, your wrists, and your feet. Explore an extension, arms up overhead, full stretch. And start bending your knees, rolling over to one side. And take a moment here before even getting up at all, just to let this practice really stay in memory with your body, a little imprint. And even as you come towards seated, you are still emerging and letting go of anything that can be rid or left from your body, and coming up to this new state of energy and being as you come to sit. Place your hands and palms together. Keep your eyes closed or a soft gaze. And a deep but meaningful bow in toward yourselves as you lower your chin to chest and as you let your mind meet closer toward your heart. May this year come to a healthy closure for you of all things undone, sealed, of anything unneeded, gone, and ready to emerge and begin this new year with new space and with love and compassion. Thank you so much for bringing your energy online into your practice. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Kat.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, turn your mics on so I can hear you for a quick second. That's our last one of the year, if you don't mind, or your camera. If you do have to go, it's totally cool. But yeah, there. Happy Christmas and New Year. Wish you guys an awesome holiday. Glad that you're healthy and well. Let's keep it that way. And whatever's going to happen in the new year, let's just be ready. Bring it on. Just
Thanks,
a quick,
Kat. Thanks
yeah,
so much. Thank you. Be
a
safe,
quick,
everybody.
a quick
Yeah.
note in terms of classes. We are going to stay online because I got a note from the studio space and they're permitting even less people in there. So it would be only a couple of us in the space. So I am going to keep our practice online, at least for January or until and when things change. And yeah, I hope that you'll stay with us online for Mondays.
There she is. Definitely. Yeah. Thanks, Kat.
Thank
You're
you.
lovely. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Say hi to Kat, too.
Hi,
Say
Kat.
Hi, Dawn.
We'll see you in the new year.
See you tomorrow, April.
Bye.
Bye.
There.
Yeah, have a safe holiday, you guys. Lots of love to you and your families, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah,
You too.
we'll see you in the new year.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.